everyone, and welcome to Nightline News. I'm Ted Koppel, and this is ABC's Nightline. Tonight we're talking about Morrie Schwartz. He has Lou Gehrig's disease. He's an ex-professor at Brandeis University, and he is a very interesting man. Roll the tape. Hello, Morrie. I'm Ted.
Sit down.
Thank you.
Ted, I need to check you out before I do this interview.
Check me out.
Tell me something close to your heart.
To my heart. Okay. Well, I'd have to say that my family and my children are very close to my heart.
Good. Now tell me something about your faith.
Well, you see, Morrie, normally I wouldn't talk about my faith with someone that I would have met a few minutes ago.
Ted, I'm dying. I don't have much time left.
Well, in that case, I feel like Marcus Aurelius has really taught me a lot about my faith. So now, Morrie, let me ask you something. How many times have you seen my show?
Twice, I think.
Twice only.
Don't feel bad. I've only seen Oprah once.
I know that twice. What'd you think?
To be honest, I thought you were a narcissist.
I'm too ugly to be a narcissist.
Soon the cameras were rolling in front of the living room fireplace, with Koppel in his crisp black suit and Morrie in his shaggy gray sweater. He had refused fancy clothes or makeup for his interview. His philosophy was that death should not be embarrassing. He was not about to powder its nose. Because Morrie sat in a wheelchair, the camera never caught his withered legs, and because he was still able to move his hands, Morrie always spoke with both hands waving. He showed great passion when explaining how you face the end of life. He told himself that, when it all started, was he going to withdraw from the world like most people, or was he going to keep living? He decided that he was going to at least try to live the way he wanted to, with dignity, courage, humor, and composure. He even confessed that there was mornings that he cried and mourned for himself. Some mornings he was so angry and bitter, but it didn't last too long. He would get up and say, "I want to live." The two men spoke about their afterlife. They spoke about Morrie's increasing dependency on other people. He already needed help eating and sitting and moving from place to place.
Well, wasn't that a touching story? Hopefully, we'll see Morrie again soon.
The program aired on a Friday night. 1,000 miles away in my house on the hill, I was casually flipping channels. I heard the voice of Morrie Schwartz and went numb. Suddenly, I turned the rental car onto Morrie Street in West Newton, a quiet suburb of Boston. I was upon the house, so I pushed the brakes. As the car stopped, I caught a glimpse of Morrie's house.
Hey, Mitch.
Brought some food.
What did you bring?
Have some crackers, oranges, and noodles.
Ah, so much food. Well, I guess that means you're gonna have to eat it with me.
I'll make it. Great.
Have a seat.
We sat at the kitchen table surrounded by wicker chairs, this time without the need to make up 16 years of life or information. We slid quickly into the familiar waters of our old college dialogue. Morrie asked questions, I answered, listened to his replies. He stopped like a chef to sprinkle in something I'd forgotten or hadn't realized. Occasionally, he had to stop to use the bathroom, a process that took some time. Each time he came back, he looked tired. I couldn't help but notice a stack of newspapers by his desk. I asked him if he kept up with the news, and he said yes. I asked him why, and he said he felt closer to people who suffer than he ever did before. Whenever he saw people suffer, he began to cry. He started sniffling up, and he grabbed a tissue. Morrie honked loudly into the tissue. He asked me if it's okay, if men crying is okay with him. I said sure it is. He grinned and then told me, Mitch, I'm gonna loosen you up one day. I'm gonna show you it's okay to cry. We laughed because he used to say the same thing nearly 20 years earlier, mostly on Tuesdays. In fact, Tuesdays had always been our day together. Most of my courses with Morrie were on Tuesdays. He had office hours on Tuesdays, and when I wrote my senior thesis, which was pretty much Morrie's suggestion, it was on a Tuesday. so it seemed only fitting that we were back together on a Tuesday, here in the house with the Japanese maple out front. I came back the next Tuesday, and for many Tuesdays that followed. I looked forward to these visits more than one would think, considering I was flying 700 miles to sit alongside a dying man. But I seemed to slip into a time warp when I visited Morrie, and I liked myself better when I was there. I no longer rented a cellular phone for the rides from the airport. Let them wait, I told myself, mimicking Morrie.
The last class of my old professor's life took place once a week in his house, by a window in his study, where he could watch a small hibiscus plant shed its pink leaves. The class met on Tuesdays. It began after breakfast. The subject was the meaning of life, actually. No grades were given, but there were oral exams each week. You were expected to respond questions, and you were expected to pose questions of your own. You were also required to perform physical tasks now and then, such as lifting the professor's head to a comfortable spot on the pillow or placing his glasses on the bridge of his nose. Kissing him goodbye earned you extra credits. No books were required, yet many topics were covered, including love, work, community, family, aging, forgiveness, and finally, death. The last lecture was brief, only a few words. A funeral was held, and although no final exam was given, you were expected to produce a long paper on what was learned. The paper was presented here. The last class of my old professor's life had only one student. I was a student. Hello everyone and welcome to Nightline. I'm Ted Koppel and tonight we're talking to Morrie Schwartz again. We're doing our final follow-up interview with him at his home. Roll the tape. So Morrie, how bad is it?
Well,
I see. Are you more afraid that death is near now?
no. To tell you the truth, I'm less afraid. I detach myself. No paper. No mail. Instead, I listen to music. And I watch the leaves change colors. Most people would hate to watch their body wither away. But for me, it gives me more time to say goodbye. For me, Ted, living means I can be responsive to other people. It means I can slow my emotions and my feelings. Talk. Talk to them. Feel with them. When that is gone, Morrie is gone.
So Morrie, do you have anything to say to the millions of people?
Be compassionate. Take responsibility for other people. If we only did this thing, this world would be a much better place. Love each other or die.
They talked like friends, as they had in the previous interview. Koppel looked for a humorous response, but Morrie was too tired to even grin. He shook his head and told him that he could no longer sit up by himself. He could only listen as the other helpers hold him. He told Koppel he wanted to die with serenity. He shared his latest aphorism: don't let go too soon, but don't hang on too long. Koppel nodded painfully. Only 6 months had passed between the first Nightline show and this one. But Morrie Schwartz was clearly a collapsed form. He had decayed before a national TV audience. A miniseries of death, but as his body rotted, his character shone even more brightly.
Alright, that's a wrap. You did good, Morrie. You did good.
I gave you what I had.
You always do.
Dad, this disease is knocking at my spirit. But it will not get my spirit. It'll get my body. It will not get my spirit.
You did good, Morrie. You've done good.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
I'm bargaining with him up there. Now, I'm asking him, do I get to be one of the angels?
I'm sorry to inform you all that Morrie has passed away. He slipped into a coma 2 days ago, and he passed away as of this morning. So he now has a funeral planned for few friends and family. We all play tribute to Morrie Schwartz.
Morrie died on a Saturday morning. All of our intimate family was in town, and we were all in the house. Our kids, my cousin, everyone. We all slept in shifts around his bed, and Morrie had fallen into a coma 2 days before he died. The doctor said he could go at any moment. Instead, he hung on through the tough times and through the afternoon and through the dark night. Finally, on the 4th of November, when all of us had left the room just for a moment to get coffee in the kitchen, it was the first time that all of us were out of the room since the coma